Crikey, doesn't he look just like me? G'day everyone, this is Wayne here, the koala half of Koaleigh. Well, it was about 4 months ago now that I created my Chaeto Reactor, and I thought it's about time that I do an update. So without further ado, I will show you where I've been up to and how it's been going. Well, here it is folks, my Chaeto Reactor. And I have gone in a completely different direction with it now, and I'll explain what I've done and why I did it. So after the first 2 weeks I had enormous growth with the Chaeto, and my nitrates were going down, and with the third week the nitrates had gone to almost zero and the Chaeto had stopped growing. And after 4 weeks the Chaeto was still no longer growing, and unfortunately I started getting green hair algae starting to grow in the reactor. I would assume, considering at the time we had a bit of an outbreak of green hair algae in our display tank, that may have had something to do with the outbreak in the reactor. So I pretty much disconnected it, cleaned it out, and discontinued using it as a Chaeto reactor. But I had for a while heard about algae scrubbers and was keen on trying an algae scrubber, and I got to thinking that I've got this Chaeto reactor that I'm no longer using, and I thought, well, why don't I just put some knitting mesh inside it and I could turn it into an algae scrubber. So that is exactly what I did. I went to Joanne Fabrics and bought some of this knitting mesh. I bought 2 sheets of it. That's roughly, you can make out the dimensions of it, and trimmed one roughly to size, and but pretty much just looped it into a cylinder so it's rounded and fit inside the reactor, and tied it together with some cable ties, and hooked it back up, and got the light running during the night when the lights on the tank are turned off. I run the light for 15 hours each night, and when I touch the reactor, it is not warm to the touch. If anything, it's about the same temperature as the sump beside it. It does not feel like the LEDs are generating any heat at all. So I have now had the reactor running as an algae scrubber for 2 weeks, and I'll give you a bit of a close-up. And you just start to make out that it's starting to get a bit of algae starting to grow on the knitting mesh inside it. So I thought it's a neat little experiment to see if it actually work in a reactor. I've never actually seen anyone try doing it this way before. So about the only change I would probably do is I've got it connected to my return line. I've got a two little fishy's ball valve on there so I can adjust the flow, and that runs back there to the return pump. And I would rather have it connected to the drain line, so it's getting water directly from the main tank. But it seems to be slowly starting to work. And I like the idea of having it in a reactor because you have no splash out whatsoever. I've seen other do-it-yourself methods, and I have been considering doing that, but I never really liked the idea of trying to reduce the amount of splash out from water running down the mesh. But there's a neat little experiment, and be interesting to see how it goes. Now this is 2 weeks on, so let me know what you think. Leave any comments down below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to follow along the progress of my new design of an algae scrubber, hit the subscribe.